Real TV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I came across this video. Um, White men being honest about racism and certain topics where their identity was hidden, so they were just comfortable, speaking on it. And that's interesting because I say it's a lot of things that white people don't say to black people that because they can't in this culture. And the cause and effect is like certain media, certain sports media. You have black people that say certain things and attack certain topics because white people can't. I also believe it's the reason why a lot of the divestors and things of that nature have a lot of leg to stand on because white men can't negatively say things back like, well, we don't want you, basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want you either. If that was ever said by a white guy, it turned into a whole different thing. So it's like black white people aren't always as open about race as people think, or maybe would not even want them to be, or would want them to be because they can't. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see. Check it out.
We brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and created a space for them to be completely honest. What will be revealed when they take the mask off?
Everyone is racist, including me.
There's some truth to that. Maybe not from like a hateful sense, but there's some truth to that. I'm not about to elaborate that.
I'm not, like, nobody wants to think of themselves as racist, and I don't think that I'm racist in the way that I think we think about racism, but I think I took the question as these like inherent biases that everybody has, and I think most of the time, most people are not aware of them.
It's weird. I think there's like this new generational divide of like, you are a racist or you said a racist thing. And I don't know where the line is. You might say something a little racist or something you don't see as racist. Someone calls you out and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, apologize. And if you argue that point against them, then I would say you're a racist. But if you understand, you come to understanding, you learn, everyone should be able to forgive that person and be like, no, you made a mistake. People make mistakes.
Depending on what it is, but I understand what he's saying because we live in an outraged society of people who is just outraged by anything. But I get his point about if you don't want to apologize for it, then it's like, okay, you're just an asshole and a racist because you don't even understand how you're being offensive, and then you don't even want to dial it back.
I don't know. I feel like it's a binary now.
So I think a really important
I agree with that part too.
thing that kind of is tough with cancel culture right now is that road to redemption. And so after you've said something wrong, how do you make yourself right again in the public sphere? At least
You don't. It goes away. It's the microwave culture. It goes away. People just forget about it, and the next thing happens. That's how you make yourself all right again in a public sphere. Something else happens, and people forget about
personally,
it.
I feel like I don't see that a lot with cancel culture is if someone makes amends, there's now an acceptance like, hey, you did something wrong, but you're okay now, or at least better.
I think social media kind of incentivizes against redemption, and I feel like it's just outrage, and I do think people do like the rush of anger.
See, I get what he's saying, but I also disagree with the point I just made because social media helps in redemption because people will forget about you.
I don't think people really believe in redemption anymore.
I guess, just kind of disagree with the idea of racism as a binary. It kind of goes back to that like really old meme where like Skipper says like, we did it, Mrs. Obama, racism is over. The idea of a redemption is just like, all right, they've fixed their racism.
Well, that's just stupid. Anybody that thought they could just vote out racism is ridiculous. That's somebody that that sounds like if you're not black, if you don't vote for me, that's just ridiculous.
In the sense that like, I think the redemption that our society is calling for is impossible. It's almost like you need to like write a check every time you make a racism, and like that will absolve you of your thing, where I think like what we should be doing is
That's how they treat black people, it seems like, but that's neither here nor there.
like the idea of growth towards a better understanding.
Women have more power than me.
I disagree, but I'm about to tell you like this. On the internet, they do.
Yeah, I definitely don't think women have more power, and I think some people might think that just because you're seeing a growing relative power that some men might not be used to. Now that women are kind of getting closer to being equal to some people that might feel like they're getting more power and they might be more powerful. And so
And that's really not a bad thing, except when you have people who feel like it's some type of competition and war and like have to say negative things about men because they're gaining power. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that makes it a bad thing.
I can understand why someone might perceive that as relative, but absolutely I don't agree that like women have more power. I think we're getting closer to equality at this point where it's a work in progress.
I don't know. It's like a yes and no question. I was harassed by a superior who was a woman at a previous job, like repeatedly harassed. I reported it to my boss, who was a white male,
Define harassed.
and he just laughed it off and said, toughen up, Buttercup.
See, that's the double standard. Like women are allowed to be certain types of ways, but then when men deal with it, it's like be a man. But it's like, yo, be a decent human being and don't attack me.
Women are harassed. I think if I was a woman,
And then attack. Now that I said attack, it's crazy because I meant attack like wordsmith wise, but I meant like physically too. You can smack a guy. It's just like normal to like hit a guy as a woman and like you know what I mean. It's weird.
and I reported harassment, especially right now with Me Too and everything, CEO would see a huge red flag, a huge possible controversy, and like I know there's definitely, ways when that isn't true, but for me it was just like we don't care. You're a man, toughen up. I don't give a shit. Like she's a woman. She can't harass you.
And then everybody doesn't have the same type of mental stability. Like just because you're a man doesn't mean you can just take somebody picking on you or saying things to you, and then she might feel some type of way about him just as a person or sexually, so discriminating against his sexuality, any type of thing. It could be an underlying reason why she's doing it, and it could be like her fighting back misogyny, like I'm the boss, so I'm just gonna pick on all these men that are under me. You know what I mean?
uh, it was really hard.
Wow, I wasn't ready for that. See what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna pick on them or laugh at them, because as I just said it, you don't know how people are dealing with stuff. Just because they're men don't mean that they're not emotional. Some emotional guys.
I'm sorry. And it was
He actually dealt with this. Like, yeah, I could laugh at him and joke at him, and like toughen up, Buttercup, like HR, but he really dealt with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then it's your job, so it's like you don't want to get fired. You don't want to say the wrong thing, get fired, and then you have to work to find another job and all this stuff. So he just took
really
it.
scared, and like if I didn't have some good women in my life and some good people, I wouldn't have taken action. I would have just toughened up.
I like what he just did because a lot of times in our culture we have this fake beef with men and women, and he gave the women in his life credit. Um, More people need to do that. More men need to do it. More women definitely need to do it. And the reason why I highlight the women need to do it is because I see a lot of women online who now um, perpetuate situations that don't even have anything to do with them. Like they'll be arguing a certain point, and then they'll say, "But see, I'm married, and I get that." It's like, yo, damn, I thought you were single and mad at men and mad at the world. Like, yo, talk about your husband, talk about your brothers. Like, you got a good life, and you talking like the people who don't. So that's why I said women need to highlight it more because it seems like a lot of them don't.
And I would have let it kill me inside.
Sorry that happened. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.